I'm just so grateful to have you here. I just want to take a moment to say thank you for the work that you and everyone at Motown, but the Supremes specifically, the change that you created, the doors that you broke down. I just can't imagine what that felt like. I mean, here you are. Y'all are from the projects of Detroit.
That's right. Three little black girls from Detroit, from the Brewster Projects. Detroit.
When you were coming up, when you were in that moment, could you see this far ahead?
Oh,
could
no.
you see how far ahead were you able to see?
No. Because I say no, because when we started out, black people were not really citizens yet.
Yes.
You know what I mean? When we became famous, I shouldn't say started out. So when we had our first hit record in 1964 and started touring the world and through 65, whatever, the Civil Rights Bill had not even been passed. You know what I mean? Yes. So as Americans and as women, we still were not, equal. Yes. We're talking about racism now. Well, racism then, as we know it, was totally different. And so for us to have become famous at that time was just so great, because I remember our parents would tell us, when you walk out this door, you got to put on your best behavior. Whatever you do, you got to be better than the next man, because that's what they all wanted us to have, more education, so that we could become, really wonderful human beings in America as black people. So, we didn't really know. We just liked to sing. We weren't in it to become stars. We weren't in it to, just be famous. We were just singing, And then pretty soon with Motown Records, we realized that, okay, there's something we can really do here. And so I've always said it was kind of like when we became famous, it was like a dream come true, an impossible dream, because at that time for black people to try to be famous, whatever, that was very hard. Yeah. It was, like I said, very difficult. So, no, never thought that this was going to happen in our lives. Me, I'm speaking for myself now. So, yeah, when we became famous, it's like, wow, we did it. We really did something very, very big. I mean, it really is big. And even now, back then, I didn't realize how big it was. I mean, we didn't know that now black people could go anywhere and do whatever they do, but no, never thought, because I thought older people came from a different planet. I didn't know I was going to get old and still be here as an adult. I mean, I just couldn't even see that far.
Miss Wilson, I need a Supremes movie.
Yes, I do too.
I know folks think that it's Dreamgirls, but it's not Dreamgirls.
I'm so happy you said that. Clay,
yeah.
May I call you Clay?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I didn't know if I should say Mr. Okay, King. But anyway, I've written 3 books now, and still there's no movie on the Supremes. As you said, Dreamgirls, people think but I say it's not true, because I know I didn't get paid, right?
Okay.
Right.
I wrote one of the real stories of the Supremes.
Absolutely.
I'm sure Diane does hers. Hers will be from her point of view. Everyone has a different point of view, so I don't care about that, But the thing is, some reason they don't do a lot of biopictures about females.
That's right.
You guys are males, well, I'm going to come right down to it.
Come out with it. Yeah.
It still is a man's world.
That's right.
And it's unfortunate that so many women are not, out front like the men are. So I don't know if it's because we love men and we, whatever. Yeah. But we do need to have a Supreme story, because I think our story, when I talked to Whoopi, who wrote the foreword to my book, and she was saying, she says, Mary, when you guys came out back then, she says, I saw 3 black girls on my black and white TV.
That's right.
She says it was so inspiring for her. And I've spoken to many, many women. Not just black women. I'm talking about women, period. Because women weren't even out there as CEOs back in those days. Okay, it was still a man's world. Now women, we are there, but I think there's still an element where men are still featured more than women are. Women who have really contributed a lot to history.
Well, your book, I mean, it came out in '86, but it really is one of the most is the definitive music biography. Dreamgirls, My Life as a Supreme. I encourage folks to check that out, because it's an iconic book. I got to take a moment to just talk about Miss Florence Ballard, because I adore her so much. What do you think that she would think about the way the Supremes has lived on decades later?
My biggest thing that I have hurt and pain whenever I think that Florence is not here to see that. I have people come up to me and every night and say, you know, we really miss Flo. I mean, it's amazing how, you know, she's passed away in 1976, and she is still so much a part of the Supremes in everyone's eye, and I just love that. Unfortunately, she was abused when she was 14 years old, and it kind of really destroyed her totally. So and as I said to one of the other interviewers, I said, I'm very happy that women are coming forward and saying certain things that happened in the past, because people don't realize how that can just destroy your life. Even though you can be out here doing all these great things, whatever, but inside you are hurting. And unless that's taken care of, you know, there are a lot of unhappy, painful things that people do, you know, they become alcoholics or drug addicts, because they're trying to cover up that pain. So yeah, I miss Flo. Our fans miss Flo, but I talk about her every night in my show.
The late, what a voice. What a voice.
She had a great voice. I mean, Florence was, in fact, when I first met her at the age of 12 and a half, I think I was, in elementary school, we were in a talent show, and she sang Ave Maria. She had a very operatic voice, and of course that was not something that we the Supremes were going to do, so she never got a chance really to sing. I say operatic, but she could be like Etta James or Aretha Franklin, Gladys Knight. She had that kind of voice that was just right there. So, you know, she never got a chance to really to use her talent.
And that's why we need that biopic on the Supremes, so we can really find out the stories of these black women, right? I have heard this funny story over the years that Patti LaBelle said that back in the day, the Supremes would see their outfits and then like mimic their outfits later. It's been this funny story that she's always told, you know, way back in the day. Is there any truth to that?
I've heard it many times. And you know, possibly that's true, you know. But I think what happens is, as entertainers are, you'll see something that looks great, and then I don't think you're copying it so much.
Inspiration.
Yeah. So, you know, that's her story, and I'm sure she's gonna stick to it.
Exactly.
And I love Miss Patti.
Oh, I love Miss
because
Patti.
you know that Cindy Birdsong was part
of
LaBelle.
Course. Yeah.
So you know, we were all very close back there. We did the Children's Circuit. We did the Howard Theater in D.C. Obviously the Apollo here in New York. We did in Chicago. It was the Regal. So we worked that whole circuit, and there were always like either the LaBelles, Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells, or I mean, we worked with Jackie Wilson on some of those shows, James Brown. So we were always together, you know, on these type of shows.
I do have to ask you, it is LGBT Pride Month, and y'all have
is
huge,
it is.
Y'all have a huge LGBT following, and I was reading an interview where you said, quote, they were always the first one at the door, unquote. Like even when you were first starting out. And I just noticed how so many folks in the LGBT community, they really help to, you know, honor and praise, especially female artists. So I was just wondering if you could talk about that community in your career.
Well, really, you know, because of the fashion, because of the beauty, because of all those things that, you know, that really attracted a lot of the community. And I remember back in Detroit, there was one guy, and this was before anyone was coming out. His name was Oscar Huckabee. And he was one of those exotic dancers. Very, very tall guy. And he was like, ooh, like this and all that. And so, you know, we didn't know anything about gay or anything like that. But that was what, you know, I realized that was sort of like the beginning of people starting to come out and be who they, you know, were and all that kind of stuff. But yes, the fans, the guys, the girls from that community were just, they loved us, I think, because of the fashion. We were some of the first people to wear black, to wear hairpieces, you know, and long eyelashes and the lipstick and all that stuff. We didn't have a lot of makeup, but we did our eyes a lot and the lips. But no, I don't think any of us ever wore foundation. But I was saying that to say one thing that was very, I can't think of what it was. Anyway, so what happened was sometimes the gay guys would have these wonderful pictures of designs, and they started bringing it to us. Wow. And that's when we started wearing great beaded gowns.
Oh, just the fans bringing you designs?
Well, not the fans. They were gay designers.
Oh, I got you.
But I'm saying,
you.
you know, and so this is when but always the gay guys were always the ones who were always there for us, always there for us, and still to this day, you know. Support
is so important. So, of course, you know, folks are gonna, if I don't ask, they're gonna wonder why I didn't ask. How are you and Miss Ross doing today? You guys have reconciled and all is good?
I don't think that's a good description of it, saying reconciled.
Okay,
we never really fell out.
Gotcha.
We probably separated.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So their life went up. I had to work hard for mine to come where it is now. But I mean, it's one of those things where we did so much as young children,
right?
Young girls at the age of 12. I mean, you know, Diana and I shared everything. But then, you know, we I don't know if you know, when you have friends and then one get married and they have the wife here and one goes this and they do that, and you know what? So you do separate, and so that's what people have said about us. And we, you know, she has her opinion, I have my opinion, and those things people will bring out and say, okay, they're upset because of this, but that's not really true. That's not the reason. Our lives just, you know,
we grow,
and we did grow apart, but we are still very, very close. I mean, I probably talk to her as much as maybe I talk to my brother. You know what I mean? Which is not a lot, but I mean, you know, it's that kind of thing. So the love is always there. Yeah.
And you have that history that
got the history.
It's not going to go away.
And it's like we're like sisters. I mean, I got to say that we really are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think the younger artists of today take for granted that y'all had to fight for?
What do I think they take for?
Yeah.
You mean for themselves? So what they
today.
Take
the art. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Well, you know, they really didn't have to go through this thing, the color thing that we had to go through. You know, I mean, that's one thing I really must bring up, because our battles were more of not universal, but you know, that race thing. I don't think that they have to go through that so much today. So that maybe people don't know that the work is very, very hard. And what I tell most people is that if you got to work, you might as well work hard at something you enjoy, because you're going to have to work. So you find a lot of people don't want to do the work, you know, and that's what I think that sometimes maybe they take for granted. But I also got to give some real respect for a lot of the artists. I mean, they are just brilliant. Queen Latifah, Will Smith. I mean, I can name a lot of them who are doing so well, and we never got the same things that they have. I mean, the monies that they're making is like astronomical. Okay, but then if you look back on the shoulders of the people that we came in with, we made more money than they did. You know, like the Sammy Davis Juniors, Alina Horns. I mean, they were doing things, but they didn't make what we did, and then the next generation does. So I think all of that's good. It's really good. But your question in terms of what do they take for granted, I don't really know, because I don't know a lot of them. But from what I'm seeing, they're doing very well.
Yeah, which is great. Random just music geek question. I've always heard this. I heard that you were originally offered Madonna's song "Holiday" and you turned it down. Is that true?
Yeah,
it is.
You're one of the few people who said that. Who knows? I don't talk about it a lot, because you know, I think that whenever it's your turn, it's your turn. Right. But I did "Holiday." I really did. It was Mark Beagle who is helped me write this book, is a writer in my new book, was the person he knew. Jelly Bean?
Jelly Bean, yeah. He was he produced Madonna's first album.
Yeah. So, but before he met Madonna, he gave the song to me. And of course I had just started singing lead. So I didn't feel I was prepared to do that, and this is new music. You know, it's like it was kind of like more disco. I don't know what
it was kind of like early
so
80s
coming
disco,
from doing my oohs and my ahs and my babies the background, and then hit this new music here. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I'm like, no. So I turned it down, and then Mark Beagle said, he says, Mary, listen to it again. You should do this. So I'm like, okay. So then we called back, and Jelly Bean says, well, I've given it to this new artist, Madonna. And I said, oh, okay. And I just, you know, whatever. And then it became a hit. I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. I turned that down. But I don't really talk about it a lot, because, you know, it's kind of like, okay.
It was a random music fact I've always had in my head. That's crazy.
But I'm thinking about redoing it, not redoing it. I'm thinking about cutting it now because I'm with this record company called Sweet Feet, and they did my last dance hit, which was I think it was number 19 on the dance charts and Billboard, and so they are kind of releasing things, and I'm thinking about perhaps doing a version of Holiday on that.
Yes.
On the
yeah. So folks are wanting me to ask you what were your thoughts on the Jennifer Lopez tribute to Motown at the Grammys?
I think she was fabulous. She's a fabulous girl.
Yes.
Now there are things about that I could talk about that a lot of us talked about, a lot of the artists, because we were in the audience.
Yeah.
Is that we didn't think we were represented. All of us were represented well, but what was there was good.
Yeah.
I think it was fine. But we feel that some of the people should have been maybe introducing some of someone and doing involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Involved.
Well, and that's
more.
and just not to belabor the point, but just to go back to. That's why it's important to have a Supremes movie.
Absolutely.
To really make sure that it's properly represented. It's a crucial part of history.
Yes.
And for y'all to be involved in it.
Exactly.
So that the truth
not
is
50 years
there.
later.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir now. That's what I've been trying to say for years.
It's real. It's real talking. It's so important.
And it's very true. I mean, it would just be so wonderful because I think women have not been represented well in terms of our history, like you were saying. So it's okay for you to say it to me because I don't like to keep saying it because people say, "Oh, well, Mary, just shut up," But the history. I was told early on we needed to write more of our own history.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I think I am.
Yeah.
I write it, and people love it.